Kedushas Levi comments on this week's Parshas Vayigash. It says, "Anochi ered imcha Mitzrayim v'anochi l'chagam ola." God told Jacob, "Don't worry about going down to Egypt. I'm going to go down with you to Egypt, and I'm also going to take you up." So the Divrei says as follows. In general, we have a student who is not as intelligent as his teacher. The teacher needs to constrict his consciousness and constrict what he's trying to teach in order that the student can understand. Often it might be a great professor is teaching a kindergarten student. It's a tremendous tzimtzum, a tremendous constriction of how the professor is used to speaking. He has to change himself to speak to a child. However, if he's talking to older students, wiser students, when this professor is talking in the college, he's talking to graduate students, he doesn't have to constrict his consciousness so much. He can talk as he's used to. He might need to constrict a little bit in order to take from the world of thought to the world of speech. Always there's a constriction. And you can't always say everything what's in your mind. It's impossible. But the constriction is not as drastic as the constriction to a small child. And it doesn't necessarily mean age, but I mean in the way of understanding. This is what God was hinting to when he spoke to our father Jacob. Jacob at the time was in the Holy Land, the land of Israel. And he was serving God. When you're in the Holy Land, it says, Avir da'ar Yisrael machkim, that the air of the land of Israel makes a person wise. It doesn't necessarily mean that you sit there and you absorb intelligence. What it means is that it expands your consciousness in a way that is not so easy in other places. It's a great danger. Someone who's on the level of holiness, so his consciousness is expanded in holiness. And God forbid the other way. It's the other way. It's a famous teaching from the Satmarov's Chusigilin called on the Haggadah. We have the version that we have of the Haggadah is based on the Babylonian Talmud. We have 4 sons: the wise son, the wicked son, the simple son, and the one who's not able to ask. In the Jerusalem Talmud, the simple son is called the foolish son. So the Rebbe says like this, that the air of the Holy Land, the Satmar Rebbe says, the air of the Holy Land, it makes one wise, because it means expanded consciousness. So the wise one becomes more wise, the wicked one becomes more wicked. The simple one becomes foolish in the land of Israel, because this is the impact of the expanded consciousness that one receives in the Holy Land. And we see that clearly. There's all kinds of as many problems that people have in various places. It's very famous that people have all kinds of what they call messianic complex, that they believe that they're Elijah the prophet, or the Messiah, or this, that, more so in the Holy Land than other places. Not only because of the history, but because something inherent in the land and something in the air in true and a clear way, and that's part of the holiness of the Holy Land. However, so Jacob, he was there in the Holy Land. He was the Holy of the Holies. So he was there. You can imagine what was it like. We can't imagine. We would melt if we got within 100 feet of the holiness of our father Jacob. How he was in the Holy Land. He was very worried. Maybe he's going to go outside of the Holy Land. He's going to go to Egypt. So he's not going to be able to serve God in the same way, on the same level that he did in the Holy Land. So God promised him that there would be, I'm going to go down with you, meaning that God will constrict his spirit to go together with Jacob to Egypt. That his influence, even on a small level, that's in Egypt, outside the Holy Land, that's what it means when God says, I'm going to go down with you to Egypt. So to speak, that God is constricting his influence, so to speak, his presence in Jacob's life outside of the Holy Land, in Egypt, so Jacob could continue to serve God. But then it says, and I'm also going to take you up. Also up. Means when you get to the Holy Land, then you're going to be on a high level. That's what it means, also go up. It says, Gam Ola. Anoiche Elche Gam Ola. Kivyachol, so to speak, that the divine presence also will go to a higher level. When Jacob will be in the Holy Land and serving him on a high level, then also the Shekhinah will also have an Aliyah. Because we have this idea of Shekhinah B'Galusa, that the divine presence is in exile with us, suffering with us. That's what it says, I will also go up, meaning that God is saying, so to speak, that the Shekhinah, that his presence will also ascend. Kedushas Levi says, in another way, we could explain that when a person serves God in truth, the more he serves him, and the more truth, the more comes into his mind that he really hasn't accomplished anything in understanding the greatness of God, so to speak. He didn't even start yet to know him. That's the truth, the Rebbe says. We see this in the Bible, in the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 3. For each Moshe anach ma'od, that this man Moses was very humble. This is the idea of Anochi Elche. I'm going to lift you up. Even when you're on such a level, you're always going higher and higher in your thoughts. I'm also. It will also go up. You always have to go up to the higher levels, one higher than the other. You realize that you're going up to God. God is infinite. So the more you know about God, the more you realize the less you know. Because there's always a higher level, because God is infinite. Another explanation, the Kedushas Levi brings, so I will take you up, also up. It means when God gives a person that he should go up, that he should ascend in spirituality, then there's not going to be such an enjoyment in that ascension, in his ascension. His main intention should also be to teach others, not only for himself, but to influence others, to teach the people of God the way of God, and to bring up the sparks to God. That's what it means. Pick up all the broken pieces. That's what it means, I'm going to take you up. That when you give a person that he should go up, it has to be also end up also. Not enough for him to go up, but he has to bring others up with him as well. And bring the people of God to serve God. He also explained, says the Rebbe, I'm going to go down with you to Egypt, and I'm going to take you up, also up. We might be able to explain this with God's help, with help from heaven. It's written also there in Genesis 11. Wait a minute, sorry. In